As you can see, I'm testing out something new today, sporting this little number. However, while I still hold love for my beloved Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm making space for a Superman review. So please enjoy. I can be brief, snippy, and satisfyingly in love with this movie, which this review is to say all of those are true. I was somewhat hesitant when there were so many new characters revealed in this trailer when it first came out. I was thinking they're going to try to do a full-on Justice League introduction with so many characters in one movie. How is that going to work in a 2-hour plus runtime? But James Gunn pulled it off. I have to say, he pulled off something I wasn't really expecting. No origin story for Superman. You're plopped right into the middle of this universe, and it looks gorgeous. It feels lived in. It feels developed. You don't have to do any homework to know what's going on. You're just dropped in, along with Superman himself. Quite literally. I'm not going to spoil the opening frame, but this movie does not let up from start to finish. It's a quick, if you're not including credits, it's just under 2 hours long. I think it's an hour and 58 minutes from start to finish before the credits start rolling. And the plot is concise. The pacing is, although a little inconsistent at points, I will say, but also the character motivations are clear. You know where everyone stands. You know why they're doing what they're doing. With the exception of one character, you find out pretty late in the movie why they're doing what they're doing. But it still feels relatively well timed. For the character of Superman, you have to have somebody who's both optimistic, giddy, but also grounded in real human emotion. David Cornsweet portrays that perfectly throughout this movie, and it's a joy to see. Rachel Brosnahan, again, brings that fire, that logic, but that cold-hearted calculus, yet desire to do the right thing to her role as Lois Lane. Nick Holt is incredibly charismatically malicious, but also enviable in his search to be the next tech bro. And all the side characters, Mr. Fantastic is charismatic as can be. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is a joy, even though that haircut is not. And Isabella Merced, of course, underlines the pop punk essence of this movie. All of those like really cohesively work together with the character arcs, with the pacing for the most part, and just in general, the new flavor of DC Comics that James Gunn is trying to do with this movie. I will say there were some scenes that felt a little trimmed and felt like they could have been expanded a little bit more, but also I know that's just going to have to happen in a 2-hour, 2.5 hour movie. Granted, this wasn't 2.5 hours, but it was still a decent movie. It was still decently long. There's just certain things that have to come and certain things that have to go. And honestly, with the pacing of the movie, those scenes probably wouldn't have worked anyways. So I really do enjoy the brisk pace. Granted, it wasn't weighed down by the darker, grittier Shakespearean tragedy of Krypton that Man of Steel was. And again, I love that opening sequence of Man of Steel. But this movie understands Superman's humanity better. And I love that more. Still have some nits to pick, though. I think the pacing was all over the place. Granted, there were some things that couldn't really be prevented. You kind of had to put Kryptonite in the movie. That's just a fact of the matter when you're dealing with someone like Lex Luthor. You just have to include Kryptonite, period. But that whole sequence in the Pocket Universe, while it was fun and engaging, it still felt just kind of oddly placed in the movie. And also, this might be a little nit to pick. The Proton River sequence really bothered me because a couple minutes earlier, one character had said, "It'll rip you to shreds," and then literally Superman, Crypto, the baby, and the robots all go swimming in it, and they're perfectly fine. What? That made no sense to me. And also, towards the end of the movie, when Superman and Ultraman are fighting in the rift, and Superman just allows Ultraman to be sucked into the black hole, to me that just felt strange, because if he was trying to be kind to everybody and be a good person to everyone, he would have saved Ultraman and said, "Hey, your past doesn't have to define you." But instead, he allows him to be sucked into a black hole. Kind of baffling. But in the grand scheme of things, those are all minor arguments in the movies against the movie. This was my favorite movie of 2025 so far. Granted, it's not a perfect movie. No movie ever is going to be perfect. But I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. On my scale, that's officially a great movie. And for you, it is a must-see in this special era of movies coming back to the theaters. Yes, I said that, and I'm happy to say it. During that time, please go see it, but also see Fantastic Four, see Thunderbolts, see all these new genre movies that are coming out this year. See Sinners. Sinners was a great, refreshing change from Ryan Coogler, who's normally a superhero guy. But he made a great indie film, which was fantastic. I actually have it right here. Have yet to watch it, but at least at home, I have yet to watch it. So, all that being said, you better remember.
Driver picks the music. Shotgun shuts.